What do we make of Joel Embiid and James Harden missing another preseason game? We'll talk about that and more when we get back on Locked On 76ers.
You are Locked On 76ers, your daily Philadelphia 76ers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thanks for making Locked On 76ers your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcast and on YouTube. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by Jace Medical. Empower yourself when you purchase a Jace case, providing you with a personal supply of 5 antibiotics that treat 50 plus infections. Get yours today at jacemedical.com. That's JASE medical.com. Hi, I'm Keith Pompey, co-host of Locked On 76ers. I got my man Jay Mitch in the building. What's up, John? John Mitchell. What's up, brother?
What's up, Keith? How are you, man?
Oh, I can't complain. So, John, I want to talk to you today about three things.
Okay.
In the first segment, I want to talk about Joel Embiid and James Harden missing both of their preseason games that they played thus far. The second segment, we want to talk to you a little bit about how Nick Nurse wants to get everyone involved and involved in the flow of the game and this and that. The third thing, I want to talk about Kelly Oubre Jr. Now, I know some people might think that I'm crazy for saying this, or asking this, but in this particular system, and I know it's the preseason, and Kelly Oubre Jr. be the Sixers version of him in regards to coming off the bench and providing scoring. So those are the three things that I want to talk to you today about. But let's get it started, bro. You know, the second preseason game, Joel Embiid, James Harden didn't play. The James Harden situation, you can look at it like, look, the brother doesn't want to be here. He wants to be traded. You know what I mean? It's one of those things where he probably won't play in a preseason game until he's traded for a certain team, or if he's not traded. So, if they come to that determination that they're not going to trade him. But then you also have Joel Embiid. Now, Joel has missed for the last last 3 years before this. He missed the first preseason game. I believe he also missed the second one last year. But, you know, here you are. You got two guys, and they're saying we're ramping it up. We're ramping it up for them. But then you got an old head like PJ Tucker.
Yeah.
Danny Green has a roster spot, right? But they're older than these two guys, right? And then Pat Bev, older guy. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So kind of like, do you look into this? Do you say like, hey, something's not right here, or is it is what it is?
You know, I think that the hierarchy that you see in the NFL with players not playing the preseason, and now you move over to the NBA and you look at, I mean, last night, if I'm not mistaken, Boston sat their players as well. You know, they that's what the league has come to, man. It's guys who the elite talents kind of do what they want in situations like this, because and you have to be looking at guys. Nick Nurse has to be looking at those guys and say, well, the situation with Harden is what it is. If he were out there on the court playing well, the city would be saying, bruh, why do you want to get moved? You know, you can play alongside a roster that could be deeper and more athletic. That is deeper and more athletic than it was last year. And me saying, just stick around. But we know James Harden's not going to do that because he no longer trusts Daryl Morey at all. With Embiid, I'm just more so concerned with him being in shape, because I too many times we've watched him play himself in shape in the early portion of the season. So he looks to be, from what I've seen of him in the preseason, he looks to be he actually looks lighter, Keith, than he's looked recently. He looks lighter. He looks like he's toned up some muscle. So I've become accustomed to seeing this out of NBA players. If you're high enough on that hierarchy, you don't have to play. I would like to see them playing because yes, you are playing under a new coach who's who's introducing his system, and his system's probably, and we'll touch on this later. His system's not going to look like Doc's in any way, shape, or form. So you would like to see them out there, but it's I'm not going to lose sleep over those guys not playing, especially since one guy we don't know where he's going to be. We don't know if Harden's going to be here.
Yeah, I get you, but this is funny though. Like, okay, so the NBA for years, a couple years, it went to a point where you remember back in the day when we used to, watch basketball as kids. Everybody, it was a badge of honor to play in every game for players. Then all of a sudden it came like, oh, that was foolish. Like, oh, you don't do that. It's load management. You got to rest the players.
Right.
That's archaic. Right. Nobody does it anymore. Then yesterday, Joe Dumars, the NBA head of basketball ops, said the league is really emphasizing that this is an 82-game season to its players and teams, and that it has data showing that player rest doesn't necessarily translate to players being healthy. So when you have this stuff go on, and then there's two guys are resting, the two guys from Boston are resting. The guys from Boston are resting, and then all of a sudden this comes out, right?
Right. Now,
to me, it looks like it's okay to rest them, but then when you get this TV money involved, you like, oh nah, bro, y'all gotta play. Like y'all, the data doesn't show it. Right. So which one is it? So now I get it. The Sixers are probably like, hey, we're gonna take it slowly with Joel. These games don't mean anything. But at the same time, we're getting mixed messages. Like, because a year ago, you would be a fool to play them. Now they want them to play. So now, with that being said, if that's the case, Joel should have played. Like, I'm just saying, because of the people who are buying tickets. That's what I'm saying. The people who are buying tickets, right? You know what I mean? But I get it. But it's just these mixed messages, man, are like just killing me. Because, like, and I don't want to. And then what's going to happen is, if the Sixers get off to a slow start, we're going to be like, well, they
didn't play in the preseason.
Yeah, they didn't play in the preseason. The one thing I will tell you though is, and I give them mad props. Like in the past, today, this is what have off. Even in the preseason, right now with Nick Nurse. They lost 112-101 yesterday.
He's acting like
they're practicing, bro. Like,
that's good. Kudos and shout out to Nick Nurse.
They only had when they traveled. That was the not take that back. No, they had a travel day. No, take that back. So they played on Sunday. They played on Sunday and they were off on Monday. That was it. Now, but when they ended training camp on Friday, they flew to Boston Friday afternoon, and got up and practiced Saturday morning.
What?
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
What? This is a new world.
Yeah, new world. Yo, if you're a reporter, you got to get right. But I think with him, it goes when he has a veteran team. That's how it is early on. But then when they start getting into it, he wants to rest. But as a reporter, you love it because you're like, yo, every day, access.
Yeah, I got fresh stuff.
Fresh stuff, exactly. Fresh stuff. But look, when we get back, I want to talk to you about. We talked about his just practice, and we talked about them keeping these guys out. But the James thing, I think, is something also to do with, is he going to be here? Right? We don't know if he's going to be here.
Absolutely.
But I want to talk to you about your impressions of Nick's offense and the things that he has these guys doing. So we'll talk about that when we get right back. But right now, I want to talk to y'all about Jace Medical, right? The Jace case provides 5 life-saving antibiotics for emergency use. All it takes to get a Jace case is fill out a simple online form, and in some instances, jump on a quick call with one of our board-certified physicians. Get ongoing care from our physicians on any treatment-related questions. Doctor created, doctor recommended. Don't be caught unprepared. Everyone should be empowered to care for themselves and their loved ones during the unexpected. Jace handles everything from online evaluations to licensed pharmacy medication delivery and ongoing consultant care, right? So that's what you got to do. Now, here's the deal. You get $20 off these life-saving antibiotics today from Jace Medical by using my code Locked On at checkout on jacemedical.com. That's JASE medical.com. Well, Mitch, so what are your thoughts of how you see a free-flowing, equal opportunity offense? Now, again, it's tough because Joel isn't there, James isn't there to get a good glimpse of it. But this is what everybody's saying it's been like at practice and when they play, and it's how it's going to be this season. What's your impressions of it thus far?
I mean, this is the evolution of the NBA, and the 76ers were behind with it, number one, because, Doc has been around the NBA, for 40 years, whether as as a player, as a coach, and Doc kind of held on to the past, with the let's be completely centered around our mainstay players. Now, I see the logic in that. And that you have anchor players like Embiid and James Harden, guys who, you're running the offense through them in some way. But, when Nick Nurse was in Toronto, guys like Scotty Barnes, even our old friend Thaddeus at times, and, Pascal Siakam, those guys would initiate the offense. And he likes to get the ball up court and get initiated in the offense. And that's going to be interesting in that, sometimes Joel will do that, probably more to my dismay than my liking. And, I think Nick Nurse is going to be, hey, sometimes, get the ball and let's go. We can't wait, for Joel to get up the court. Now, that's not going to just freeze him out of the offense. And if that does happen at some point, where he's not seeing the rock as much as he'd like to, obviously he'll pull you aside and say, off the record, but but I do like to see the initiation of the offense coming from different places. It's just that's the way the game is played now. And again, without those two hubs in the lineup, we'll see how much that I believe it will change. But I also believe that, Nick Nurse has won a championship. He can look at those guys, and it's unsaid that, listen, I've got a ring. You don't. You guys have got, second round. You've dissolved in the second round. You've rolled over in kittens at times. So, I think he's going to go in there and, hey, he's a coach. He's the coach. I think that the bar, whether people want to say it out loud or not, the bar has come down a little for the 76ers because, last year they were always mentioned among the elite in the Eastern Conference. And now with what Boston has done, with what Milwaukee has done, they come down a little bit from that elite ranking. The expectations are lowered, even if we have the MVP on the roster. So, yeah, I think Nick Nurse is going to have more latitude to run his offense. And, I like what I'm saying because it is the way. It's the way the NBA is played now. It's no longer the isolation league, or James pound, until there's 10 seconds left and screen and roll. It's no longer. That's just not the NBA anymore. Even if you have been more effective using that, it's not the league anymore.
True, and also the thing is, it's not the league anymore. And you realize that all the players, at least right now, to a man, when you talk to them, they've been raving over Nick Nurse. And again, it's the newness. It's like getting a new car.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you just love it. It's different. It's always that way. And then
it's the honeymoon. It's the honeymoon
period. Yeah, exactly. The honeymoon period. So it's kind of like, you want to like take what they say and like, okay, this is great. And people are going to like write stories about it and take shots at Doc and the whole nine. But, this is new, man. It's just a different group who are giving other guys opportunities where they felt like they didn't get it. But I'm going to just read with you something that PJ Tucker said to him. He says, in regards to him, a lot of Sixers getting opportunities. He says, that's Nick. That's what I'm saying about Nick. There's different looks. Tonight might be your night. Tonight might be his night. You never know. But the ball is going to pop. Everyone is going to touch it. Everyone is going to feel involved. And that's how it's going to be. You know what I mean? So they're all saying that. And, it was, and last night, I'm going to be honest with you, Wednesday night, there was a lot of ball movement in the first half.
Right.
Things looked good.
Right.
But then in the second half, things became a little disjointed, right?
Right.
It was like, I don't know, it was sloppy. It was, I don't know, it was just bad. And instead of like doing what they were doing in the first, it looked like they regressed, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, I look at it as it was a preseason game.
Right. Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like how guys got motivated in the second half. And I asked Tucker about that, and he said it was all right. He said different lineups were different, which is true. He says we still figure it out, right? It's still preseason. No Joel, no James. Everybody else will figure it out. We'll figure out the offense, how we're going to play off each other, how we're going to play as a team, read each other, and work on the flow. He says that's stuff we got to keep working on. We got a couple of weeks, so keep working on it every day. So, you know what I mean? He raised a good point. You know what I mean? They got to figure it out. You know what I mean?
And you know what he sounds like, it's interesting. It sounds a little bit like what they're saying over at Lincoln Financial Field with the Eagles. Different scenario, but it might, one night it might be Devontae's night, one night it might be Dallas Goedert's night, one night it might be AJ Brown's night. Now, I mean that might be a little bit of a stretch of an analogy, excuse me, but you get the point. Guys want to eat more often, and there's the potential to eat more in a free-flowing offense than it is in an offense with certain guys where it's, I'll just post up here in the corner and watch the play develop, and guys want to get more involved. And I think in the long run, Joel was saying at the end of the playoffs, we need more guys in here. So this is, if you can't bring more guys in here, at least you have an offense that brings about more participation from more players and who are capable of helping you.
True. You're right. Everything is, and that will work out for him. But look, when we get back from this I'm talking about brief break, y'all. Brief break. We'll talk about Kelly Oubre. Is he him, as the kids say, for the 76ers? Is he the Sixers version of him coming off the bench, right? We'll talk about that and more when we get right back. All right, Mitch. So Kelly Oubre, right? So Kelly Oubre was the leading scorer last night. He had a pretty good game. He started out strong in the first half, right? First quarter, actually, when he came in. The thing is, I look at him, he had 18 points. Now, the thing is, Tyrese Maxey would have probably been the leading scorer if he would have played, as much, right? This and that.
Right.
That's it. But when you look at Kelly Oubre, he's doing everything that they're asking him to do. And the thing is, Kelly Oubre, the problem, I guess, could have been at certain teams was he's such an offensive-minded guy to where you saying, look, bruh, we need you to go in the flow of the offense, not
Right.
you, not
Right.
getting yours.
Yeah.
Like he's coming in,
Jacking shots. Yeah.
shots.
Mm-hmm.
But you look at it, the Sixers need somebody like that off the bench if he comes off the. Now, if he's in the starting lineup, you want him to be more like in the flow, right?
Right.
But to me, coming off the bench, that's not a bad role for this guy.
No, it's not a bad role, and here's a guy who's playing for money. If I'm not mistaken, he's a free agent at the end of this year, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's there are always ulterior motives amongst NBA players, and with Kelly Oubre, if he plays he has the ability to score. If he comes off the bench and it's less structured, and he can attack, he can do the things, he can be that 3-and-D guy that he has shown the ability to be at times in his career, more consistently than not. This is a chance for him to make some money. Help the 76ers by helping, help yourself by helping the 76ers. And if he does, because they're going to need some firepower coming off the bench, you're not going to want to turn to that second unit and have a team that is just basically hanging on, waiting for the cavalry to arrive with the return of the starters. So, I mean, I like what I see from Kelly Oubre. I like what I saw out of him last year. I like the fact that he can, he moves without the ball. He can create his own shot with his own athleticism. Yeah, I think he's a plus. I think this is a good signing for them. I really do. And I was surprised that he was still hanging around and available to be signed when they did sign him. So you and I talked, offline about, does he come off the bench? Does he start? The more I think about it, a guy like PJ Tucker, I mean, you know what you're going to get from him. But he can be out there. He's a guy who doesn't need the ball, but it becomes cliche to say he does the dirty work. He's a guy who does the dirty work, but it is true. Every NBA team needs a guy like that, and the guy, who TJ probably thinks he's blessed, by making the money he's making with the low production he's had for years now. So I would think that he will, PJ will be fine as a starter and won't mess up a flow. He'll allow guys to continue to eat amongst the starters. And then Kelly Oubre off the bench, man, it looks more and more enticing to me.
Yeah. I'm with you. It does. Are you saying with Kelly Oubre off the bench?
Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
It does.
I mean, you have defensively. My one issue with that is your starting backcourt is very suspect defensively. But they can counter that with being very productive offensively.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, you're right. That's the problem. Now, what they saying with Joel Embiid staying in there, and what they want is they want Tobias Harris, the guard. If this is how the backcourt is going to be with Maxey and Harden, if he stays, they want Tobias to be the guard, the best perimeter player. So it's going to be a lot of work for Tobias, Joel, and PJ.
But I like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I like that, and I mean, Tobias, I mean, let's be realistic. He's not going to be able to stay if he's not going to be able to stay in front of some of these quicker guys, but he gives them length on the perimeter.
But he's better than the other two. That's the problem. You know what I mean? Like, he's better than the other two. And the thing is, Pat provides some. Now, the problem is, I'll be honest with you, man. That perimeter defense yesterday was horrible. Horrible. Like, dudes was just, I mean, it was like, it reminded you of the Sixers last season. You know what I mean? When dudes were just, it was like, yo.
Yeah.
Yo, go get them. Go. Bang. You know what I mean? And then they just
shot Larry and Curly.
Yeah, it was crazy, man. But we'll see. But yeah, you're right, man. Like, Danny Green, 36.
Yeah.
36. But
Hey,
dude, the brother had 5 points in the steal within the first 42 seconds of the game. And then he got his second steal, like maybe 15 to 20 seconds after that. So,
who is that man?
But again, like, can he do that night in, night out?
No.
Can he do that with extended minutes? Just spurts? Because he cooled off a bit in the second half. Like he did all that. He played a 6-minute spurt, and he was on fire. Then after that, he was 3 for 3 shooting. Then after that, it wasn't really, the same. But it was that way with everybody. But yeah, right. So like DeAnthony Melton, Pat Bev, guys like Jaden Springer, they're going to be the 3 dudes they're going to have to depend on. To depend on it to provide that defense, and that's their role. They want Jaden to knock down some threes, but at the same time, his focus is on the defensive end, and let guys like Tyrese and Tobias and cook. You know what I'm saying? Kelly Oubre,
as it should be.
It should be.
As it should be.
Yeah. So I want to thank y'all for listening. I want y'all to know y'all can get this podcast wherever you get your podcasts at. It's free and available. You can also go to the YouTube channel. When you go to the YouTube channel, make sure you click on that Liberty Bell. When you click on that little Liberty Bell, it does 2 things for you. You become a new subscriber, and you get a notification. You get a notification when a new podcast comes out. So do that. But also tomorrow I'll be back talking about something. Hopefully you get my man Mitch back on here quick, fast, in a hurry.
I'm with you, brother.
He brings so much knowledge and everything. When we talk basketball, he don't know anything about football. I'm just.
I know your boy is going to be looking for a quarterback next year in the draft, and might be in position to get one.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? It's funny because for everybody, I'm not going to say my team is, but I'm a big time trash talker. And you know how you go on Facebook and you realize that I've been talking trash and this team has been struggling for over a decade. But every year I go in thinking that it's the NFL. They can turn things around. Nah, bro.
Nah, they might turn it around next year. But Lord, what happened?
Man, look like as I root, they're 3 years away from being 3 years away. That's sorry. That's my squad. And it's funny because when I go down to the Sixers games, the dudes in the locker room, the staff members, everybody, the arena employees, it's like they just kill me, man. They just kill me.
I don't know how you fell in love with that team, but that's your squad.
Yeah, that's my squad. Hey, you know how it is? You ever see that meme when that woman, he's mine, and I love him. Like you see her husband or whomever it is, he's like messing up, and she like, that's mine.
Yeah,
I love him. I love him to death.
That's who you are. That's who you are, Keith. You died in the war with your support.
Yeah, I am. So,
but man, they bad.
Yeah, they're horrible. They're horrible.
and nobody saw this coming.
I know. You thought that they were going to take after last year. You thought like, okay, they get a little bit better, but it is. It is what it is. But all right, Mitch, thank you, and thank y'all for listening.
Thanks for having me, Keith.
Anytime, and I want y'all to have a blessed day. Peace.